Chapter 1. Pillars of the Hidden God. Inside the Pyramid of Khafre, the researchers have identified 5 vertical spaces that resemble the relieving chambers found above the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid. If these voids are confirmed, they would challenge the common view that Khafre's pyramid has a simpler interior than Khufu's. In Khufu's pyramid, 5 horizontal relieving chambers were built to reduce the weight above the granite roof of the king's chamber. These chambers were discovered in 1837 and are considered an important engineering feature. No similar system has been found inside the second pyramid until now. The new vertical voids are reported to be evenly spaced and aligned in the lower part of the pyramid. The researchers compare them to Djed pillars, an ancient Egyptian symbol representing stability and rebirth, often linked to the god Osiris. It is unclear whether these 5 shafts were designed with this symbolism in mind or if the interpretation is modern. However, the number and symmetry suggest intentional architectural planning. If confirmed, these features could indicate a previously unknown symbolic aspect to the design of Khafre's pyramid. Chapter 2. Descent into the Forgotten Earth. Beneath the base of the second pyramid, researchers report finding 8 cylindrical shafts extending deep into the bedrock, about 648 meters, 0.4 miles deep. These shafts are arranged in 2 parallel rows of 4 and appear to have spiral pathways inside, forming a helical shape. This depth is much greater than any previously known excavation at Giza. For comparison, the deepest known shaft, the Osiris shaft, goes about 30 meters below Khafre's causeway. If confirmed, these new shafts would be over 20 times deeper. The shafts are described as hollow and cylindrical, each surrounded by a spiral ramp or path. This could suggest either a complex infrastructure, perhaps for mechanical or energy purposes, or a symbolic design representing a journey, like the soul's passage through the Egyptian underworld. Radar imaging also indicates that the 8 shafts converge below ground into 2 large cubic chambers, each about 80 meters wide. These chambers are aligned north to south, a direction with symbolic meaning in Egyptian cosmology associated with eternal stars and rebirth. Similar cubic architecture is rare in Egypt, but found in places like the Osirian at Abydos, thought by some to predate the Pharaonic period. The 2 chambers, each linked to 4 shafts, may reflect dualistic concepts important in Egyptian myth. If these structures exist, they would be the deepest and most geometrically complex underground features known in Egypt. Their size and design suggest a use beyond simple burial, possibly for habitation, energy use, or ceremonies. The regularity and alignment make it unlikely these features are natural formations. If confirmed, they could change our understanding of ancient Egypt's history and technology, possibly pointing to a civilization older than the dynastic period by thousands of years. Chapter 3. The City Beneath the Stone. In addition to the vertical shafts and large chambers, researchers have identified other structures extending horizontally beneath the Giza plateau. These radiating voids suggest a large connected system underground, which the team tentatively calls a possible underground city. The idea of hidden tunnels beneath Giza is not new. For many years, there has been speculation about underground passageways and sealed chambers under the pyramids. Ground-penetrating radar studies, eyewitness reports, and historical notes have hinted at such features, but none have been officially excavated or confirmed. In 1999, Zahi Hawass acknowledged natural cave systems under the plateau found with British explorer Andrew Collins. The new SAR mapping outlines clear linear paths branching from the main shafts, consistent with planned construction rather than natural caves or fractures. This suggests a multi-level underground complex that may have served ritual, living, or storage purposes. The team connects this network with esoteric concepts like the halls of Amenti, described in occult literature as ancient subterranean temples and knowledge repositories beneath Egypt. Edgar Cayce, a well-known American psychic, also spoke of a hall of records hidden beneath the Sphinx or pyramids, containing wisdom from Atlantis before a major cataclysm around 10,500 BCE. While such ideas remain controversial in academic circles, they are popular in alternative history and spiritual communities. The Egyptian duat, a genuine part of funerary belief, represents the underworld the soul travels through after death. If the structures reflect this spiritual model, it suggests the duat may have been based on real underground spaces. This raises questions. Could Egypt's spiritual texts be both metaphor and map? Could the halls of Amenti have a basis in real underground chambers? If so, what else might still be undiscovered beneath the desert? Chapter 4. Echoes from 1977. The idea of large underground structures beneath the Second Pyramid is not entirely new. In 1977, a geophysical survey by Stanford Research Institute, SRI, and Egypt's Ain Shams University reported large subsurface voids near the pyramid's northwestern and southeastern corners. They also found anomalies beneath the central part of the pyramid, specifically 23 and 31 meters below a chamber known as Belzoni's chamber. These early findings were not fully published in academic journals, but are referenced in interviews and technical notes by independent researchers. The survey's credibility is supported by the reputations of SRI and Ain Shams University. However, the more unusual findings, especially those indicating deeper voids, have not been followed up extensively, leading to speculation about neglect or possible suppression. Belzoni's chamber, accessed by Giovanni Battista Belzoni in 1818, lies beneath the pyramid's central axis and is carved into the bedrock. It was considered the lowest chamber inside the pyramid. However, the 1977 survey and recent 2025 findings suggest there may be deeper chambers or cavities beneath it. This layered underground layout fits with the emerging understanding of Giza's subterranean structures. Instead of simple tombs, the pyramids and the ground beneath them may contain complex, layered architecture. The detection of voids under the pyramid's corners and central axis supports a symmetrical layout, possibly connected to the deeper systems reported recently. The lack of further exploration of the 1977 findings has frustrated independent researchers. Writers like Graham Hancock and Andrew Collins argue that mainstream archaeology is hesitant to investigate evidence that could challenge accepted history. Chapter 5. A City Revealed. Recently, a new discovery was announced, what appears to be an underground city beneath the Pyramid of Menkaure. This comes shortly after reports of large underground structures beneath Khafre's pyramid. It suggests that the features found are not isolated, but may be part of a larger network under the entire Giza plateau. The idea of a city beneath the pyramids has been speculative for years, often dismissed by mainstream historians. However, recent advances in satellite synthetic aperture radar, SAR, ground-penetrating radar, GPR, and tomography have begun to provide clearer images of hidden spaces under the pyramids. Menkaure's pyramid, the smallest of the three main pyramids, was previously thought to have a simple internal design without complex underground features. This new data challenges that assumption. Initial scans suggest a large underground complex beneath Menkaure, including voids, corridors, and chambers similar to those under Khafre. SAR data also indicates that these features may connect physically with those under Khafre and possibly Khufu, suggesting a large integrated system. Historical sources like Herodotus and Arab chroniclers mentioned hidden chambers and tunnels, and some modern esoteric writers have claimed Atlantean archives beneath the Sphinx. But until now, there was little hard evidence. Calling this network an underground city implies more than tunnels or burial shafts. If these underground systems connect the pyramids, it points to a unified architectural plan with advanced engineering and spiritual meaning, beyond what is usually attributed to Fourth Dynasty builders. The alignment of the structures along cardinal directions, the presence of symbolic shapes like Djed pillars, and their depth and complexity all suggest a purpose related to spirituality or cosmology. This underground complex may be a reflection of the heavens or a physical map of the Egyptian underworld. Chapter 6. The pattern emerges. A research team led by Italian scientist Filippo Biondi has found that vertical column-like structures beneath the pyramid of Menkaure are very similar to those beneath Khafre's pyramid. Their tomographic scans show features that are not only alike in structure, but also consistent in shape and placement. Biondi said the data clearly indicates the structures under Khafre also exist under Menkaure. This strengthens the idea that these are not random anomalies, but part of a planned architectural design. Tomographic scanning, which uses techniques like muons, seismic waves, and electromagnetic pulses, has become a valuable non-invasive tool in archaeology. It was this method that helped discover the big void inside the Great Pyramid in 2017. The discovery of similar voids under two different pyramids suggests intentional design rather than natural formation. The term columnar structures likely refers to the vertical shafts or spiraling tubes seen in the radar data. Such features do not match known Old Kingdom pyramid designs, which never included large vertical columns beneath their foundations. The geology of the area cannot explain the regular spacing and alignment seen. If the shafts under Khafre and Menkaure share similar height, spacing, and orientation along cardinal points, this would suggest a lost or pre-dynastic cultural infrastructure beneath Giza. For many years, scholars have debated whether the pyramids were individual monuments or parts of a larger ceremonial complex. These findings may indicate a large architectural plan buried beneath the sand. Chapter 7. Toward the Colossal Unknown. The research team estimates there is about a 90% chance that the pillar-like structures found beneath the Pyramid of Khafre also exist under the Pyramid of Menkaure. This conclusion is based on consistent patterns in the data, including similar shapes and alignments. If confirmed, this would suggest a very large underground complex beneath the Giza plateau, possibly extending as deep as 610 meters, about 2,000 feet, matching earlier reports of deep shafts beneath Khafre. Finding similar geometries and alignments under multiple pyramids reduces the likelihood that these are natural formations. Instead, the data points toward deliberate construction. These structures cannot be easily explained by known natural geological processes because of their regular shapes and orientation along north-south axes. If they are man-made and lie so deep, it raises two possibilities. Either the area was buried over tens of thousands of years, covering ancient structures, or these were intentionally hidden by ancient builders with advanced techniques. Some theories suggest these may be the work of a lost civilization predating the known dynasties or even non-human creators. Although such ideas are outside mainstream archaeology, the scale and depth of the structures call for open consideration. Confirming these findings through physical exploration would have major impacts on history, archaeology, geology, and religious studies. It would change our understanding of ancient Egypt and the origins of civilization. Chapter 8. The Tip of the Iceberg. According to Filippo Biondi, the underground structures beneath the pyramids are likely part of a larger, dense network of tunnels connecting the main chambers. He said the pyramids themselves are just the visible part of this system. The idea of tunnels beneath Giza has existed for many years. In 1923, British mystic Paul Brunton claimed to have entered underground halls under Giza. In the 1930s, Egyptologist Selim Hassan documented sealed shafts and corridors near the pyramids, many unexplored. In 1993, Zahi Hawass and geophysicist Thomas Dobecki used ground-penetrating radar to detect a sealed chamber under the Sphinx, but it has never been opened. Some researchers, like Andrew Collins, suggest there is a natural cave system under the plateau, which may have been modified in ancient times. However, Biondi's team uses layered radar, tomography, and structural models, relying on consistent findings across different pyramid sites. The structures identified, pillars, shafts, spiral ramps, and tunnels, match in depth, orientation, and geometry. If similar patterns are found beneath Khufu's pyramid, it would mean all three pyramids are linked by a large underground system. This implies that Giza was more than a burial site. It might have been a multi-level complex for ceremonies, technology, or knowledge storage. This idea aligns with Egyptian beliefs of the cosmos, where the underworld lies below the living world and can be accessed through sacred gates. There are similar ancient underground cities elsewhere, such as those in Cappadocia, Turkey, and the hypogam of Halsafliani in Malta. However, if the Giza system extends hundreds of meters deep and covers the pyramid sites, it would be much larger than any known ancient underground city. Biondi's interpretation challenges traditional Egyptology. He views the pyramid as a cosmic mountain connecting earth, sky, and underworld, not just a tomb. If the data is accurate and future excavations confirm these tunnels, the Giza Plateau could be understood as a large spiritual and technological site with unknown purposes. Still, verification is needed through independent studies, data release, and possible excavation before these claims are accepted. Chapter 9: The Spiral Descent. The research team reports that the pillar-like structures beneath the Pyramid of Khafre are more than 600 meters long and have spiral shapes. This discovery changes how we understand the scale and complexity of the underground structures at Giza. Fewer such features are expected beneath a smaller pyramid of Menkaure, which may be due to its smaller size and simpler design. These are not pillars in the usual sense. At nearly 2,000 feet in length, the structures resemble spiral tunnels or coiled shafts descending into the earth. Their spiral shape suggests a purpose beyond support, possibly to guide people, energy, or represent symbolic forces. No other known ancient Egyptian constructions include features like these. The deepest known shaft in the area is only about 30 meters deep. These spiral structures are much deeper and more complex. The spiral is an important symbol in many ancient cultures, representing life, energy, regeneration, and descent into the underworld. Egyptian texts describe the soul's journey through the duat as a twisting path through chambers and gates. The spiral shapes found may reflect this spiritual journey. In esoteric traditions, spirals also relate to concepts like Kundalini energy, DNA, and resurrection. Finding these forms beneath sacred Egyptian monuments suggests that they were intended as architectural symbols for the soul's transformation. Menkaure's simpler underground features support this interpretation. It may serve as a secondary node, while Khafre sits over the deepest and most complex spirals. This suggests a hierarchy in the underground system, with each pyramid representing different levels of initiation or cosmic meaning. If these spirals are real, they would be the largest and most complex ancient underground constructions known, surpassing tombs, cities, and temple complexes in the Mediterranean and Asia. However, physical verification is needed. Until then, the findings remain radar images and models. If proven true, they may change our understanding of the pyramids and ancient civilization. Chapter 10: Spirals into the Deep. The research team reports that the pillar-like structures beneath the Pyramid of Khafre are over 600 meters long and arranged in spiral patterns. Such structures are not known in ancient Egyptian architecture. If confirmed, these would be more like large helical tunnels coiled into the earth, showing advanced design and possible symbolic meaning. Spirals often represent cosmic ideas such as cycles of birth and rebirth, energy flow, and the soul's journey through transformation. Egyptian texts describe the soul's passage through the duat as a complex path winding through gates and chambers. In this context, the spiral can be seen as a map of spiritual initiation. From a construction perspective, these spirals are very deep. These spirals reach over 600 meters, which would be difficult to build without modern machinery. This challenges current historical understanding unless our models are incomplete. Khafre's pyramid sits above many of these spirals, while fewer are beneath Menkaure's smaller pyramid. This difference may reflect different functions or importance in the underground network. This arrangement suggests a hierarchy, with Khafre as a central access point and the other pyramids as supporting nodes. If real, these spirals might represent entrances to a buried system used for ritual, energy flow, or spiritual navigation. Spiral forms have appeared in many ancient cultures, symbolizing transformation and life cycles. Finding such geometry under Giza suggests these ideas were encoded in the architecture at a large scale. Chapter 11. Echoes Beyond Time. The research team emphasizes that the spiral structures beneath the Pyramid of Khafre extend more than 600 meters, about 4 times the height of the Great Pyramid. These are significant architectural features. They propose that these structures may date back as far as 38,000 years ago, well before the start of dynastic Egypt, and even before Göbekli Tepe. This places their construction in the late Upper Paleolithic, a time when humans were not thought to have built large structures. This idea supports theories by researchers like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, who suggest a lost advanced civilization existed but was destroyed by a catastrophe. One important date is about 12,800 years ago, marking the start of the Younger Dryas, a sudden cooling event likely caused by a comet impact. Evidence such as ice core data and extinction layers support this event, which may have wiped out advanced human cultures if they existed. The spiral shafts at Giza could be remnants of that lost civilization, later covered or reused by the builders of dynastic Egypt. Some researchers suggest the features might not be voids, but buried obelisks. Based on sedimentation rates, a burial depth of 2,000 meters could imply the structures have been buried over millions of years. This idea suggests the structures could be millions of years old, possibly built by a pre-human or non-human civilization. However, this dating method is uncertain due to geological changes over time. The possibility of very ancient artificial structures aligns with theories like those in Michael Cremo's Forbidden Archaeology and ancient myths about early ages of civilization. If the structures are proven to be extremely old, it raises difficult questions about who built them and why their memory has been lost. Currently, these ideas are speculative and require excavation, dating, and multidisciplinary study to confirm. Chapter 12. The Hall of Records. For nearly a century, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, ARE, linked to Edgar Cayce, has investigated the possibility of a hidden chamber beneath Giza called the Hall of Records. This chamber is said to contain knowledge from a lost civilization, Atlantis. Cayce claimed that this archive lies beneath the Sphinx or near the Second Pyramid and was created by survivors of Atlantis around 10,500 BCE. He predicted it would be found when humanity was ready during times of upheaval and moral change. Recent 2025 satellite and tomographic data showing large underground voids beneath Giza, near the areas Cayce mentioned, has renewed interest in his claims. For decades, mainstream Egyptology dismissed the Hall of Records as myth or speculation, but the new data may turn it into a testable idea. The ARE has been involved in surveys since the 1990s, including ground-penetrating radar studies that found cavity-like features beneath the Sphinx. These findings were never fully explored or confirmed. Cayce described the hall as containing Atlantean knowledge about Earth's spiritual history, ancient sciences, pyramid building, and future warnings. He also mentioned similar repositories in Bimini, Bahamas, and the Yucatan, places linked to myths about lost civilizations. Cayce's date of 10,500 BCE matches theories by researchers like Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock, who say the Giza monuments align with stars as they appeared at the end of the Younger Dryas. If the newly found chambers contain artifacts unlike those from known Egyptian dynasties, it would support Cayce's timeline and suggest the pyramids were built over much older structures or replaced them. While skepticism is warranted, the physical evidence now emerging blurs the line between mystical prediction and scientific discovery. If such chambers are found and contain non-Egyptian artifacts, it would be a major archaeological discovery, changing our understanding of history and civilization. Chapter 14. Beneath the Threshold of Proof. No amount of radar imaging, no matter how precise or interesting, can replace the certainty of physical excavation. This is the common view among Egyptologists and archaeologists worldwide. Without digging, there can be no definite proof of hidden chambers or structures beneath the pyramids. Remote sensing can detect anomalies and voids, but cannot determine their contents or purpose. The Scan Pyramids project, which found the big void above the Grand Gallery in Khufu's pyramid using muon tomography, shows this clearly. The void remains a mystery because no one has been allowed to explore it. The Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities requires strict procedures for any excavation or sampling to protect the site. Until these protocols are followed, the underground structures proposed by the SAR team remain hypothetical rather than confirmed. Some experts in alternative archaeology call for openness and cooperation rather than outright rejection. One example is Dr. Robert M. Schoch, a geologist known for his controversial but respected work on the Great Sphinx. He has urged the SAR team to share their data and methods to allow independent evaluation. Schoch's balanced approach offers a middle ground between dismissal and acceptance. It highlights the importance of testing radical ideas through data rather than prejudice. This situation raises a broader question for archaeology. How should unknown findings be treated? Should they be ignored as noise or investigated as potential discoveries? Are scholars gatekeepers of tradition or seekers of truth? Ultimately, answers will come from the ground through careful excavation and study. Until then, the underground world beneath Khafre remains closed, but still a subject of interest. Chapter 15. Toward the Threshold of Proof. Despite controversy, the Khafre SAR project team remains committed. Unlike some earlier fringe researchers, they are preparing to release their full satellite tomography data in the coming months. This release could either support or challenge their hypothesis. Tomographic imaging from orbital SAR is an interpretive science. It involves combining thousands of radar returns from multiple satellite passes taken at different angles into 2D and 3D maps of subsurface density. If done poorly, it creates illusions. But if done well, it reveals real underground anomalies. The planned data release will include GPS coordinates, metadata on radar frequencies, polarization, and pass angles, and the algorithms used for data processing. This will allow independent experts, whether skeptics like Lawrence Conyers or established groups like the Scan Pyramids Consortium, to review the findings objectively. For the first time, the discussion can focus on reproducibility rather than claims alone. The team also seeks permission to conduct coring tests at key anomaly sites on the Giza plateau. Coring uses narrow tubes to extract deep samples without disturbing the surrounding area. The samples can be analyzed for material composition, dating, moisture levels, and signs of human activity. Gaining approval for coring is difficult as the Giza Plateau is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities and the Supreme Council of Antiquities oversee such operations. The process requires demonstrating archaeological value, safety, and international cooperation. Now, this effort marks a shift from rumor to formal scientific investigation. The pyramid itself is no longer the sole focus, but the space beneath it. The coming months will be crucial in confirming or refuting the existence of these underground features. Chapter 16. The Ogdoad Beneath the Stone. As the Khafre SAR project moves toward scientific review, it also touches on ancient mythology. The latest data shows 8 vertical shafts arranged in 2 rows beneath the second pyramid. This arrangement is similar to the Ogdoad of Hermopolis. In Hermopolis Magna, the Ogdoad represents 8 primeval forces existing before creation. These are 4 male-female pairs, Kuk and Kukhet, darkness, Nun and Nunet, primordial waters, He and Hehet, infinity, and Amun and Amunet, hiddenness. Together they are called the Kumunyu, or the 8. Their union created the cosmic egg from which the universe emerged. The radar data showing 8 shafts arranged as 2 rows of 4 echoes the Ogdoad's four dualities. Although some may see this as fitting mythology to data, the parallel is notable. In ancient Egyptian belief, numbers and forms were symbolic and used to encode metaphysical ideas into architecture in sacred spaces. The Ogdoad's animal symbolism is meaningful. The males had frog heads, symbolizing life emerging from water. The females had serpent heads, representing hidden knowledge and transformation. If the shafts were purposefully arranged this way, they may have had initiatory or ritual roles. Were these wells part of burial rites or symbolic of the soul's journey through the underworld? Or were they points of contact with the hidden generative forces the Ogdoad represents? In the myth, the dark waters give rise to Khem, the Black Land or Egypt. The cosmic egg splits open, revealing light, land, and order. This story of emergence from below matches the idea of spiral shafts, cubic chambers, and tunnels beneath the second pyramid. These structures could be more than physical spaces. They may be an architectural metaphor of creation. The pyramid above represents the mound of first emergence, and the shafts below the chthonic source. Egyptian temples often reflected cosmology, including creation myths, whether through solar alignments, star maps, or underground sanctuaries. The 8 shafts might not be simple wells, but symbolic organs of creation. If the structures match Hermopolitan cosmogony, they represent a worldview before time, light, and order. A worldview based on primordial consciousness rather than state religion. In this context, the second pyramid may have been not just a tomb, but a sacred machine invoking darkness, chaos, and water. Chapter 17. Wells of the Ogdoad. The Ogdoad of Hermopolis represents the beginning not just of time, but of consciousness. Kuk and Kuket, the first pair, symbolize the undivided duality, a unity from which creation begins. They represent a state of pre-differentiation, a darkness full of potential. From this darkness came Nun and Nunet, the masculine and feminine primordial waters. These waters are not earthly, but an infinite ocean of possibility, the basis for the cosmos and matter before light and land existed. The satellite data shows 8 vertical shafts beneath the second pyramid, arranged as 4 pairs. This layout reflects the structure of the Ogdoad and embodies the idea of emergence. It is possible the Ogdoad myth preserves a memory of real underground structures. These shafts remain buried in darkness like Kuk and Kuket. The shafts descend through watery geological layers like Nun and Nunet, suggesting a symbolic and physical descent into creation's source. In ancient Egypt, myth and architecture were closely linked. Temples and tombs were built not only to honor the dead, but as metaphysical machines. The shafts might have functioned as portals between worlds, matter and spirit, life and death, known and unknown. The Ogdoad's duality reflects unity and opposites. The shafts may symbolize these polarities, male and female, above and below, earth and sky. It is unclear whether the myth inspired the shafts or vice versa, but the alignment of structure and symbol is significant. If functional, the shafts could have been used for rituals involving descent into the underworld, water management, energy focusing, stellar alignment, or as gateways to other realms. Though speculative, these ideas are grounded in Egyptian mythology, where creation begins from below. Darkness gives way to light, and the waters of Nun produce the first land, Khem. The cosmic egg of the myth parallels the cubic chambers found beneath the spiral shafts, a symbol of order emerging from chaos. The second pyramid may be more than a monument. It might represent the cosmic event of creation, expressed in architecture. If the shafts are ancient and man-made, their rediscovery could reveal a sacred science lost from history, but preserved in myth and stone.